To map data between the sale order and the invoice is a little bit different than mapping between the sale order line and the invoice line, as it requires a different related field to be configured. So let's first take a look at this. First thing I'm going to do is go to debug, and I'm going to open another window, and I'm going to open two more of these instances in debug. So now I'm going to go to the models, and in the model I want to go to the sale order, and on the sale order I'm going to create a field called referral ID, right? And this is going to be a many to one field where I'm going to relate it back to the res.partner, which is the contact model. Okay, so I've just added that field to the sale order. And now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go to the invoice. I know that I want to map that field to the invoice, and I'm going to create a new field on the invoice called referral ID. Same thing. I'm going to do many to one related to the res.partner. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to relate this field back to the field on the sale order. So I need to know how to do that. So what I need to do is understand the relationship between the invoice and the sale order. And right now the invoice, if you look at this, and this is, I guess, just comes from experience, but you will see when I expose all these fields that the invoice, the only relationship, there is no relationship to order or to anything on the sale. There's right, there's the sales team or the salesperson, but there's nothing to relate it back to the sale order. So what you have to do is you have to take a kind of a roundabout journey to go back to that sale order. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to map it through the what's called the invoice lines, and we will see those invoice line IDS. So we're going to go into the first step, and this is the invoice line IDS. And now we're going to go look on the invoice lines now that we've identified those. Where would that be? Invoice line. So once we're on the invoice line, I know the invoice line has a way to get over to the sale order line. I can see that here. So, and I also know that the sale order line has a way to identify a sale order. So I'm actually going to take that roundabout journey. I'm going to say, what we're going to do, Odoo, is we're going to look at the invoice lines. We're then going to identify the sale line IDS, or the sale order line. And then once we're on the sale order line, I'm going to go in and identify on the sale order line, how do I know the order that this is related to? And it's order ID. So then I want to know the order ID. And then on the order ID, what field do I want on the order ID? I want the X referral ID field there. So what I'm doing is I'm on the invoice, and from the invoice, I look at the invoice order lines. Of those invoice order lines, I look for the corresponding sale order line, and that's how I make the kind of the leapfrog, the jump from the invoice to the sale order. I do it through the lines. So now that I'm on the sale order lines, I know that the sale order line has an order ID mapped to it, and that's how I say, okay, check the order ID. And it's interesting because an invoice is going to be related to an order line, and an order line is going to be related to an order. So when I say order line, I mean sale order line. So you're never going to have two invoiceable lines that come from two separate sale orders, or you could, which would render this solution ineffective. But this particular strategy that I'm showing here is always going to, work under the assumption that there's one invoice or there's one order line or order ID per invoice line. So if you have 10 invoiceable lines, they should all come from the same sale order. If they don't, then this solution would break. But this is how it would work otherwise. So now that I have this field, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the order. I am going to create and just drag and drop that referral. field that I created here. It's Studio, and you don't need Studio. You can do it with XML. But now that, or not XML, but you can do it actually through the form view here. So now that I've edited that and added it here, I want to go to the invoice and I want to do the same thing. And I want to take a referral field here and drop it. And now you're going to notice the referral field here is read only. I can't edit it. While the referral field on the order line here is, I can edit it. We'll just say John Doe. We'll create John Doe. You'll notice this links back to the contact record, right? It's a many to one. So you'll see I have, I'll have that in my contact record. But now that I've designated a referral here on the sale order, if I confirm this and create my invoice, you'll see it will map John Doe correctly as the referral here. So just to recap, if I go to the invoice line, or if I go to the actual invoice and I expose all 87 records and I search for referral ID, here is the computation used to map back to the referral ID on the order, which belongs to a sale order, which belongs to the invoice line, which belongs to the invoice. So if you have any questions on how I got there, let me know. I'll be happy to elaborate. Thanks so much and have a great day. And please be sure to follow me, subscribe to my channel here, and email me at any time with questions, recommendations for future videos, or just additional support of any kind. Thanks so much. Have a great day.